Okay, this unit's about saving face and how this whole idea of acculturation, exploring the context of what face actually is, and we're going to be talking about different styles of conflict communication, identity, and we're going to explain the stages of culture shock, discuss aspects of mediated culture encounters. So when I first went to Malaysia for Trine University, okay, it's fall of 2015. I left Indiana, beautiful fall day. Got to Malaysia and the temperature was between 90 and 100, all right, a bright sunny day. And first thing we did is I got off the airplane and met my handlers, two Malaysian people, a man and a woman, and they immediately took me to a restaurant, right? And restaurants in Malaysia are not like anything you've ever seen here in the United States, okay? Because it's always warm, always hot, and rains a lot. Restaurants are basically outdoors, without windows, without doors, just kind of open pavilions with a roof over the head. So we went to this outdoor place with all this food spread out in like serving trays, okay, kind of like a buffet, okay, and outdoors. And the temperature was absolutely incredible. And I had no idea what any of the food was. The only thing I could tell was that it was very, very colorful and full of smells, aromas, okay, and spices, I guess, right? And the first thing we had to do is wash our hands, and I didn't even know where to go for that. I finally figured that out. And my handlers are helping me, okay, but they're just cold water, no hot water, right? And kind of communal washcloth, and I said, this isn't working for me, right? And then all the food, the strange food was in trays, and it actually turned out to be very good, but it was so hot I could hardly eat. So that's my first culture shock there. And in Malaysia, it never got cool. It didn't get cool at night. It never got cool in the morning. It was hot 100% of the time. So that was a big deal of culture shock, all right? The people themselves were not so much shocky, okay, I could say, because it had been an English colony for over 100 years. So it was a lot of it was kind of westernized. I mean, not very much, but still there was a lot of similarities and a lot of English was spoken, all right? Now, when I went to China, the culture shock was really serious, all right? I left here right around Thanksgiving. I think this was fall of 2017. And I got to China, and it was dark and wet and cold. And I landed in the middle of a city of 12 million people. Whereas in Malaysia is very open. They don't have a lot of high rises. I mean, they have one big city, the capital, okay, Kuala Lumpur, with some high rises, but it's just not all high rises. China, as far as I can see, even landing, as far as I can see, it's these huge high-rise towers. I mean, population smashed into these giant cities, all right? Lots of concrete, rain, cold, 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 cold. And the good news was, and I didn't have a handler, all right? The good news was I stayed in a really nice 5-star hotel. So that was good. Nobody spoke any English at all. My credit cards didn't work, so I just total state of shock, all right? And the food was much stranger than the Malaysian food, all right? The hotel did have some Western food. Okay, I could get fried eggs and sausage and bacon and stuff in the morning, but that was kind of very minimal. Everything else was very, very Chinese. And of course, I went to China thinking I liked Chinese food. We all like Chinese food. Okay, well, guess what? In China, Chinese food is differently. There's no General Chow's chicken, right? There's no sweet and sour pork, things like that, all right? All the food there always features fish heads with the teeth and the tails and everything, okay? So you're always dealing with lots of stuff that you got to kind of eat around. So that was pretty shocking, right? And then the other funny thing is, it wasn't so funny, is because of this whole saving face issue, and you see this a lot, and I don't like this word, Oriental cultures, okay? There's no such thing as Orient, all right? All the cultures in Asia are different, dramatically different from each other. It'd be just like saying all European countries are the same. They're not, all right? Well, all Asian countries aren't the same. The people are much different from each other. They have much different backgrounds, much different histories. South Koreans are nothing like Japanese. Matter of fact, they hate each other. All right, and Japanese are nothing like Chinese. Okay, they hate each other. A lot of history there. And then Thai people, Thailand, beautiful country, totally different. Vietnam, totally different people. Malaysia, totally different people. So even though they're all part of Southeast Asia, Oriental, so to speak, all very, very different. Okay, so back to the face thing in China. So what I noticed is Chinese people did not want to lose face with you, period. Okay, so this got very, very complicated. So in my own case, I wasn't a business person, but I heard this story all the time. A business person, so like you go to China to do business deals, right? Well, they don't want to tell you no because they don't want to disappoint you. If they disappoint you, they're losing face, all right? So they don't tell you no. So you sit to this business meeting, and they'll be saying yes, they'll be nodding their head. So you'll leave thinking everything's fine. You'll come back the next day, and you'll find out no contract, no business, no order, nothing. They were really thinking and saying no the whole time, but they didn't want to lose face by disappointing you. Okay, big issue, giant issue. So somehow you would have to work through that, kind of understand that yes means no, and work around that. All right, and what I'm told and what I learned and what I actually was doing some consulting and helped some people say, just be persistent, keep going back day after day, wear them down. All right. So then the other thing is, so shopping, everything's in Chinese. Okay, no English, right? But I had Google Maps and Apple Maps, and so I could find the big malls, right? Still no English spoken, but the maps were in English. So one time I wanted to find a Monopoly game. I was teaching economics class, right? And I wanted to play a Monopoly game where we were going to be doing exchange rates, right? Changing money, right? So I found this mall, and guess what? It had Toys R Us, and my map in English said Toys R Us, right? In this big mall. So I walked all the way down to this big mall, all right, and went into the information desk. And I couldn't quite tell from the map where exactly the Toys R Us in the mall was, like 5 stories high and huge, okay, city block. So I couldn't quite tell what the Toys R Us store was. So I didn't know any Chinese, but I asked the information desk, Toys R Us. Toys R Us. Toys R Us. No, Toys R Us. Okay. So then I got the map out, showed her, no, because she couldn't read the English on a Toys R Us. No Toys R Us. So I wandered around, all right, kind of consulted my map, and again, so of course I find the Toys R Us on the 3rd floor, right? So then I walk into Toys R Us store and talk to the sales clerk, and Monopoly. So I tried to pronounce it every single way I could, right? So finally the manager comes over, right? Go through the whole thing, Monopoly. And I finally look over the shoulder of the manager. I'm facing the manager, and over this shoulder here is the entire Monopoly display, about 5 different kinds of Monopoly games there. So he had his back to it. He didn't know where it was, right? He didn't know what I was saying. So he kept telling me no, because he didn't want to lose face by disappointing me by not being able to find it, okay? Or he just wanted to get rid of me, and he didn't mind disappointing me. He didn't want to have to deal with me and have him look foolish because he didn't know what I was talking about or didn't know where it was. I don't know what the problem was. But that turned out, I talked to people about that, really common. It was very difficult to get help. The first response was no, to get rid of you, all right, not have to deal with you and not lose any more face. It's a big issue and something kind of dramatic that you have to work through. So I've gone on almost 8 minutes. This is a very typical week. This is the next to the last week, by the way. And next week, you need to be looking ahead, please. Go down to the bottom. It's called here, Planning Ahead. I'm looking at the Moodle. All right. Next week, you're going to display where you learned this course with a Kaltura Media presentation. It's a short week, so you need to be experimenting now. Basically, you're doing a PowerPoint. Please look ahead into the week 8 module. And you're picking a country that you would want to travel to or work in, all right, and you're going to analyze that country in terms of everything that we've learned in this previous 7 weeks of this class, okay? Communication differences, food differences, culture differences, and how you're actually going to cope with those differences. This is like a way to get you prepared to do something in business or to be something other than just a dumb American tourist, all right? And down at the bottom of this same week 7 module here on the Moodle, I have what's called the CIA World Factbook, and it's really cool, okay? It lists all the countries in the world. It tells you tons about them. So if you're not quite sure what country you want to choose or that kind of thing, go through the CIA Factbook. Have a good time with it. There are maps. It's a brilliant resource, all right? So, hey, I've rambled on long enough, so I hope this has been helpful.